And welcome back to episode 24 of the Football Fanatic podcast. With us this week, as always, Howard and Daniel, and returning to us after his Christmas break, Kieran, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Good to be
I'm
back.
not, yeah, not bad. It's been a few weeks, man. How was your Christmas? How is your January?
Yeah, it was good. I drank a lot. I stayed as horizontal as possible, and yeah, I'm back. I'm back in the new year with a refreshed
Did
zest for life.
did you
He did
do?
a moist January as well. A fellow moist January.
Yeah, it's been a slowly things are getting slippery in this January.
Howard, how did your dry January finish up? Or just your
Um,
how did your normal January finish up?
no, it went well. Yeah, had went out on Friday there for with work afterwards. So yeah, the try January is truly finished now.
While I'm gone.
I don't know what happens in February, but it won't be like January. But
Um,
no, it's good. It's crazy. We're at like episode 24.
I know, it's
Um,
going well.
so yeah,
And
fair play to
still
yourself, getting it all prepped and ready. So.
Yep.
that right. Hey, Dan, do you hear this? Positive feedback.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something. He's after something.
There's a hidden agenda.
Yeah, yeah.
And Dan, I'm gonna ask you last. How are you feeling?
Oh, yeah. I'm going through a serious case of mourning here. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been on social media and something pops up at RIP.E and you're like, oh, fuck, Jesus, I know them. And it gives you a small moment of sadness. Well, when my social media started bouncing and my WhatsApp started bouncing, there was a serious case of that feeling, only it was but fucking 10 times worse. Um,
how did you find out like who was it that texted you? What was the
Would you
first
believe
thing you
it?
seen?
Would you believe it? So I was napping my daughter, okay,
Okay.
and got her asleep, and went on the phone, and I think I was on Twitter, and there was like a thing up about Klopp's decision to leave Liverpool, and I don't know where you're not. There's like, there's like Sky Sports, like what do they call them? Like where they're fake pages, but there's a name attached to them. They're
Yeah.
like kind of
Yeah.
spoof
Slow
pages or whatever.
sports, slow sports.
All
Yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of stuff. So I was there looking and going, what? And the next minute, like, before I even got into my WhatsApp, then I think popped up on the Athletic, like a notification, and I just pulled it down, and it was Klopp announced his intention to leave Liverpool, and then I flicked, I was like, click, and before I even clicked into that, then I just hit my fucking Instagram or Facebook, like Sky News popped up straight away, and it was in
Yeah.
yellow, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, no, it was. I know we're going to talk about it anyway, but like,
Yeah,
it
of
was a serious shock. Like it was just one of them where you
course.
couldn't have seen it coming.
As you
And
said,
yeah, I'm
yeah,
still
we will.
processing it.
Of course, I will believe it.
Yeah.
We will discuss it in detail. First, we'll do a very quick weekend review of the FA Cup over the weekend. So I suppose there were wins for City, for Liverpool, Luton, Brighton, Newcastle, Wolves, and Man United had a big win over Newport. Um, what do you call it? Notts Forest for replay, Chelsea and Villa go to replay as well. No major shocks. Maidstone beat Ipswich, I suppose, if you want to call that a major shock. What do you call it? I thought City winning at Spurs was a big result for us, not even in the FA Cup, but just in general, because in we haven't won at the Spurs Stadium in a long, long time. And I suppose it bodes well for us. I suppose we're still fighting on three fronts and
How did you play? I didn't see the game. How did you play?
played quite well. Spurs were set up well, but I think that was the first time at home under Ange that they didn't score, I think. We played pretty well. Haaland is hopefully going to be back against Burnley on Wednesday. De Bruyne was on the bench. Stones was on the bench, so there are players coming back. Foden again was playing in that kind of 10 position. Still playing pretty well. Again, when he gets the ball on the turn and he just kind of glides away and he's starting to pick out passes, his vision is getting actually a lot better. Doku started, so he's fully back. The goal though was scrappy. It was in the 90th minute, 91st minute, Nathan Ake.
Yeah. So
And
good.
was kind of giving out, was there a foul on the goalie? I didn't think so, and that's not been biased. I genuinely didn't think it was a free kick. I thought it was a perfectly fine goal. Um, Liverpool got by Norwich fairly easily. United got by Newport, small, tiny scare, but nothing too major. Brighton had a great win, got 5 goals away from home. Wolves and West Brom. I don't know if you saw the clashes at the weekend.
Yeah, saw that. Yeah.
Well,
Didn't look nice. Kieran, you were going to say?
Yeah, it seems like seems like there was a couple of Wolves fans sitting in sitting in some home seats amongst some West Brom fans, and whatever they were doing, it seemed to have been fine until the 78th minute when things really did kick off. So whatever
Yeah.
led to the kind of
I,
altercation.
It was the
I,
goal.
s-
It was Wolves' second goal,
yeah,
I
there was a
think.
video circulating with one of the
Yeah.
lads in a white hoodie. I don't know if you've seen that video, and I think they
Pumping blood,
started.
was it?
No, huh?
Pumping blood. Was that the video?
No,
No.
well, I didn't. It was in the stand, and it was a video, and it shows them basically saying like chanting a Wolves chant, and then 2 minutes later, there's like a load of lads throwing boxes at this fella that's trying to get
Wow.
escorted out. So like I suppose he could have been sitting there quiet and then just
Yeah.
decided to give it a bit, which you're always, it doesn't matter. I know that was a derby, wasn't it? Between
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
yeah.
is.
Black
Yeah.
But I
Country
don't think it
Derby.
really
Yeah.
matters whether it was a derby or not, though. I think you're
What's it
always
called,
looking for
Karen?
trouble.
It's called the Black Country Derby. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Jesus.
Well,
Um,
That
the
that
guy
could be
in that video though,
misconstrued.
he was getting the badge and he had his Stone Island clobber on, so
yeah.
maybe he's the kind of guy who wants to get into those altercations, going out with that kind of gear on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suppose like there are kind of like like fanatics and ultras, whatever you want to call them. But I mean, yeah, over in England, there's always a section, isn't there, that kind of take it to the next level. And at a derby, like I've only been at the Man United Manchester derby, but I mean, Kieran, were you at a Celtic Rangers match before? Did I get that wrong?
No, I never got to a Celtic Rangers game, but I was over there when I was young with dad, and I think they wouldn't allow me to wear a Celtic jersey down to the hotel restaurant
Really?
that night because just in case it kicks off and me there like
Clear
some
on.
10-year-old wearing a Celtic jersey, just in case it kicks off.
But I don't think I
Dan,
don't think it matters.
you have been at derbies, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been at the Merseyside derby, but I don't think it matters whether it's a derby or not. I remember back in school days, where they used to do kind of trips. You could go on like football trips with your school, and I remember a load of the lads from our year went to it was United Everton. I think David Beckham scored like a worldie free kick, and a lot of the lads they were in with the Everton fans. They were mostly United fans, like the lads, and they kind of cheered when the goal went in. Like they were told it beforehand, obviously, and they were quiet for most of the game. Beckham scored a worldie anyway, and one or two of them celebrated. And next minute, Everton fans started throwing coins and spitting at them and roaring at them. I actually don't think it matters if you think about it. Like especially if it's the result is because you'd imagine the fans would only that are in the wrong side of the ground would only really start giving it a big one if they're winning. And then obviously the home fans are going to be fucking thick as fuck.
Dan, wait now. What school allowed a load of young lads to go off United fans and put them in the middle of Everton fans?
Yeah, but it was just like you going to
Seems a bit irresponsible.
Yeah, but it's always one of them kind of like their tours, whatever package tour ones, and it's like who wants to go, and then it's
They were fucking
trying.
They were trying to save fucking money.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't think anyway. My point is, I don't think it matters who it is or what it is. I think if you're an Athlone Town game and you're a Longford fucking fan and you're in amongst the Athlone Town lads and you start giving it large, you're gonna get your head kicked.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be the way, but it is the way. I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? It's it. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Few questions on the FA Cup, I suppose. Like say, for example, Chelsea and Villa are going to a replay, and I suppose that's a game that neither team could probably do without, because I think most managers in the league don't like the idea of replays. So should replays be done away with, do you think?
They are after this round, isn't it? I think
Is it after this round they're completely done away with?
I think so. I think they become one off games after this, and I think they were pushing to try and get it years ago to get them that the replays were gone. But then I suppose it's the incentive for the smaller clubs if they want to get a financial side of it. But I think it's after the next round, or what round are we now?
Yeah.
Are we fifth round?
Going into the fifth round now. Fourth, is it? Sorry.
Fifth, isn't it? Fifth round.
Yeah. It was the fourth.
Yeah.
Gone, yeah.
So I think then after that they're gone. Now I kind of like the way it is now. I like for example as well that the Carabao Cup I think after this year is going semi-finals to be a one-legged tie as well. I think they're kind of getting rid of a lot of the replays because there's just too many games, and with the revamp of the fixture list with the European changes next year with the extra games, you kind of need like less of replays or whatever like that.
But the other benefit of scrapping the second legs or replay as well, the second legs, I guess I'm talking about more, is that you have more upsets then. Like Middlesbrough would have knocked Chelsea out of the Carabao Cup if it was only one leg, and there you get a great cup story. But no, it gives Chelsea time to gather themselves and go and beat them out 5-1 like a bully beating up a 4-year-old kid for his lunch money, you know.
And again, it's another kind of thing like when they got rid of the away goal rule, like so they're again they're putting it a one off. Means both teams are going to have to go for it. There's no kind of sitting back and trying, hold a result and then bring it back to your own ground, whatever. But yeah, I think the less of them, the better. But I can see why they for the early rounds of the FA Cup.
Fair. There is a financial aspect to it as well, I guess.
It's also just they're like it's sad, the loss of status of the FA Cup and all that, but it's also such a dead time of year in general, and now you have these kind of dead rubber games that take up the weekends for when you're kind of. I mean, I have felt the absence of the Premier League the last week or two, and it's kind of been like changing up, different teams playing on different weekends. Yeah, like we're still in this fucking FA Cup.
It's been brutal. I agree. Like since Christmas, it's just been. I know we've had one round of games, but it feels like there's been feck all. I suppose as an Arsenal fan, we haven't been in any competition, so that's been partly the reason. But like it has been the winter. I suppose this is the winter break in full flow, so it has been unusual. Now now there's going to be a flood of games. So
I love the cups. I love the FA Cup especially. What's it called? But I'm just wondering, what do you think? Like, should there be 2 domestic cups? Because I mean, let's be honest. Like the Carabao Cup, a lot of teams are playing their whatever you want to call it, their B team, their younger players.
Cup,
Like, I mean, I don't know what it's like in other countries. Are there 2 domestic cups, or is it just one?
There is, I
think there's 2 usually.
There is 2, yeah.
I'm just thinking about my football manager days.
Yeah.
I think there's 2. I think there's usually like a crap one and a pretty decent one.
The way it's looking though for the European teams, it's going to be, because remember we were looking at the fixture list of where then games will go in next year, and they are going to clash some of them European games. I think with like the Carabao Cup round, and so like it will devalue the cup competitions in England for the bigger sides more. It would obviously the other side of that is it gives other teams that aren't in Europe a better chance.
Well, why don't you do like a Carabao Cup for teams that aren't in Europe?
Just have it.
Sure, have all the leagues except not the guys who are in Europe, and let's just play amongst them. Like it's still all the divisions. You know what I mean? That's that. At least because I feel like if you get rid of the Carabao Cup, you're kind of your smaller towns like your Macclesfield Town or whatever. Like they don't get a chance really to play against the bigger teams. Well, this way you kind of have still a chance to maybe knock out whatever Wolves or whoever.
Yeah, I think the Carabao ones. I think City got knocked out of it, and I could see. Our kind of run in it, I suppose. Like you get interested once it gets to like maybe quarters, semis. You can see yourself going all the way, and then it becomes interesting. I'm the same with the FA Cup. To be honest, I think both of them. For me, actually, if I was to say my opinion on it, for as time has gone on, the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup are nearly the same for me, and that's just how I feel about it. I think that they're like it's whether you win the League Cup, whether you win the FA Cup, end of the season, teams are the way it's quantified is the cup. You won a cup. Regardless of whether it's I
don't know. The FA Cup for me is small bit higher now than the Carabao Cup. It has more prestige about it from earlier days.
We also have now 3 different types of European competitions for English teams as well. So it is kind of very clogged up. And maybe before the Champions League or the FA Cup had such prominence in the last 20, 30 years, the idea of winning the FA Cup still had some sort of status, but it's been diminished really, hasn't it?
All right, fair enough. Okay, so we'll move on now to the main issue over the weekend, which was obviously Jurgen Klopp announcing his departure from Liverpool after 8 years. Is it 8, Dan? 9?
Yeah, he was there since 2015.
2015. So as you said, you got a major shock over the weekend or on Friday morning, as did all Liverpool fans. And it's not your everyday managerial kind of departure. Like this one definitely feels different, and it's obvious because he has had such a major impact at Liverpool, and it was the same at Dortmund. Whatever it is about Klopp, the person, he seems to kind of take to a club, 100%. Like the fans, the club, he becomes the club. He became Dortmund, and he has become Liverpool as well. And Yeah, I get it. While a lot of Liverpool fans are saying like it's like a death, on the hour in morning. But I suppose a couple questions. First of all, Dan Natchin, I'm going to start with you. Why is he leaving now? Because I mean, he was talking about this Liverpool 2.0 over the summer. So like, and he says his energy levels are depleting. Do you think that's true, or do you think there's something else, or he's being genuine and that he's run out of steam?
No, I do think it's genuine. I know there will be a bit of a narrative around is there more to it than meets the eye because of the kind of like Liverpool are top of the league, flying high, have a brand new midfield and have a young squad that looks like it could be there to challenge for a couple of years to come. So there's going to be a narrative around is there more to it? I suppose I'll start with the first part, which is why is he leaving? If you remember back last year when Liverpool were in a bit of a hole, he looked visibly like that he was struggling, and he did mention and reference around his kind of energy and how will he be able to keep going. Now, he did sign a new contract that kind of, I suppose, alleviated a lot of the fears with Liverpool fans that he was going to leave. And whether or not, things are just like that, he kind of had got the show back on the road near the end of the last season. Was there a feeling then, it seemed as if it was very, very genuine that I'm going to rebuild here and go. And for whatever reason, now I suppose you look at it, he's not your stereotypical, I suppose, kind of rigid manager. Like there's so much more to Jurgen Klopp, I think, than there is a lot of other managers on and off the field. As I don't know, as someone who watches Liverpool very, very closely, like he's involved in so much stuff off the field. I think Rafa Benitez, when he was there, was involved in an awful lot off the field, but he obviously they're chalk and cheese in regards to their charisma and personality. But the amount of passion that Klopp would bring, like he really, as you mentioned, Deck, like it's blood, sweat, and tears. He really is in it 100% from when he's on the touchline, I'm sure, to the training ground and beyond. So I think that you have to take it at face value what he says around the kind of energy and that as well. It's just such a shock when Liverpool are flying. Like last season, there was talk of what's he coming towards the end of his tenure. A lot of non-Liverpool fans were talking about that he'll probably be gone, but I think an awful it'll probably be gone soon. But I think an awful lot of that was commentary was around that. I don't think they'd faith in the fact that he'd be able to turn the fortunes around to go from a fifth place team with an aging midfield, one of the oldest squads actually in the league at the time, and be able to kind of revamp it that quickly. Because like the turnaround is it's when you look at the competitiveness of the league and the teams involved this year, that there very, very much has been a massive turnaround. So I would take it as face value. There would be a small bit of seed of doubt because he had been quite critical of a few things that the owners had done over the last number of years, financially being one part of it. But I don't think that was that for Klopp. If you look at his record, has never been the name of the game for him around money and wanting massive amounts of money to spend. He's always been a manager that can do it with small amounts of money. But I think there was a couple of things that I think that the Super League thing, I think that did impact him a bit. I think he was vocal around that. Has been a lot of changes within the club as well, ongoing kind of things going on with sporting directors and things like that. So there has been a few things. The Salah thing as well last season was an interesting one as well, whether or not, how much, but there's no doubt that his influence within the club, and I'll talk about that in more detail, but that he has had more of a say as time has gone on at Liverpool. And I would take it at face value, but I can understand there probably is a small bit of doubt as well. Is that he's not the kind of manager who's going to come out and absolutely fucking annihilate FASG, especially given the time frame that we're in now. Anyway, at a later date, will he say something? Will he not? I don't think he will, to be honest with you. And I think it is more of a you take it at face value. And in fairness, he's given it all to Liverpool, so he owes Liverpool nothing. Do you know what I mean? As in, he has given his fucking all, and he's given us some of the best times in definitely my lifetime as a Liverpool fan. So. Yeah, I take it at face value.
Okay. I suppose, Howard, will his departure mean the departure of certain players at Liverpool, do you think?
Oh, good question.
I mean, I'm only going on
Van Dijk.
the whole Salah, but Van Dijk today as well.
So the Van Dijk thing today that came out, he kind of tiptoed around the fact that if he's going to stay or not, and he'll kind of, he's 33, I think, he's coming up to 33, or he is 33, I'm not sure, but he's kind of wondering, well, if Klopp is moving on, what is there going to be a massive transition here? Will I hang around for that? He's only played in the Premier League and in the Dutch league. Will he go? Will he go to Madrid or Juventus or whoever? He has an opportunity there, and he's at the right age. So you have him, and then you have the likes of Salah. I would say he'll probably end up leaving in the summer. So it is a massive. I think it's a good time for Klopp to get out. Like, it probably needs a bit of new blood in there. You know, like when he's talking about energy and losing energy, you just imagine the amount of energy he'd have to take, or he'd have to have when Salah and Van Dijk goes and have to rejuvenate the whole
Yeah,
team. Then, like, you
absolutely.
know, so like that whole thing there, like he can see that coming down the drain, I'd say, down the line. So I would say there's a big part of him there that's like, well, I'm just burned out now, and I'm giving a final push for this. Now, I'd be interested, you know, from talking, you know, from you see United when Fergie left, and you know Wenger when Arsenal left, you know, to talk about Xabi Alonso maybe coming in or someone like coming in. But it's just interesting to see, you know, whoever comes in. Is it a poison chalice to come in at this time straight after Klopp? How can they actually turn things around to make it, you know, can someone come in there and do a job just as well as Klopp? It's probably very unlikely that that's going to happen. Like his
Yeah.
energy that he gives, like you just think of Klopp and you just think, like seen him in Dortmund, that smile he has with all his dentures hanging out of him. He's just he's a real character, like, you know what I mean? Like there's certain things you need to be a good manager, and one of them is you have to have the charisma. You have to have that charisma with the players. The players are going to have to die for you on the pitch. Like that's part and parcel of being a great manager. If you
Yeah.
can't get that communication across to them with energy and with enthusiasm, the players aren't going to play, especially when they're on 200k a week. Like these players need to kick up the arse, like, and you need to have a right man, and he has that, and he
Yeah.
has the tactics. So he's a mixture of everything. He's a charismatic guy who has that heavy metal football, who will just play. So I think he's been a revelation for the Premier League in general. And
Can I ask you, Howard? Sorry,
yeah.
just do you think that Salah and Van Dijk would be leaving if Klopp hadn't announced that?
I'd say, well, I think Salah was probably on his last leg. I think from the Saudi bids and from
Because
what he heard. Well, maybe.
The talk was though that he was looking at extending. That's what the
Yeah, like
latest conversation was with him.
look, I suppose in the summer we all thought with the Saudi League that Salah could go, and then we thought January, and things maybe are fading away a bit now in the background with the Saudi League. So you know, maybe there's a possibility that doesn't happen and he does stay, and then that's, you know, that's not a big deal then. Now the only thing is Salah is getting on, so like it's not like he might have that wand of a left foot going forward for the next few seasons and going to dominate games. Now he could, but like I just think like there's a chance there that they might do an overhaul completely, like, you know, and like if they can get good money for Salah, they can spend it within the team, and same for Van Dijk. Like, and there's still two aging players that if they could get a new younger profile in, you know, they could be back up in no time. So like that's the way. Like I just think it is. Look, it's always going to be a blow losing a manager of that status. Like, you know, it's very hard to move on to expect that expectations again next season when you don't have Klopp.
Irreplaceable is the word, I think, in my opinion.
Irreplaceable, exactly,
Yeah.
irreplaceable. And like you're going to have to come up with a new style of football, really. Sorry, Kieran, go on.
Go on, Kieran, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, just echoing kind of what you said, that we so often hear, I get a description of like he's a generational talent in terms of footballers, or she's generational talent in terms of footballers who just defy, you know, logic, and they just keep raising the bar and keep coming back, being better or sharper or whatever, breaking records, all this kind of stuff. And in terms of managers, I think Klopp really does fit into that bracket, because he was able from the very beginning as well, from his first season when what final did he get to in his first season? He came in.
He got to the he was the League Cup final against City, and he got to the Europa League final against City.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from the very beginning, he was able to get his Liverpool players to believe in his narrative, to believe in the story that he was trying to get them to, you know, to buy into. And also he really, really successfully and quickly connected with the fans.
But his personality suits it, doesn't it? Like, you know, the Dortmund, the Liverpool's like that, like emotional bond that you have with the fans, and emotionally play it. Like that's Liverpool. Like couldn't have been a better match, really. You know, in the Premier League, couldn't have been a better match for Klopp. Like.
Just
go on.
Sorry, no, it's just one or two small things there, Howard. You're dead right. There couldn't have been a better match. I couldn't see Klopp at any other club in the Premier League. Like, I'd love him at City, but I don't think he'd fit.
It
City.
Wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked.
Like, you know absolutely. What I mean? It's Liverpool. It's because of their history as a club and all of their kind of triumphs and tragedies. It just kind of seems to fit Klopp as a personality over the years.
But Liverpool is it's a more Northern England team. Like, you know, you have the likes, let's say, of your man Bradley coming up. You have the likes of, you know, your Jamie Carragher, Gerrards or whatever. These players, I know it sounds mad, but like they're not London players. They're not like your fancy, you know, your Sakas and all these, you know, young lads coming through. They're more like they're going to put in a tackle on you and you're going to know about it kind of players. And that's just the way Liverpool are. They're like, you know, the Scottish, you ever hear this, you know, the Scottish playing rugby or whatever, they're always like, they're dogged, they're going to fight to death. Like that's Liverpool have that kind of, you know, ingrained in them because of their location.
Tenacity, yeah, absolutely.
And I think it suits the Klopp style of managing.
And I think you have to remember as well that he was very close to going to United. I think it was actually his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was his wife that had kind of pushed him towards more Liverpool than United. United were after him as well at the time that we got him. There was talk of him going to Manchester, so it just
that would have been interesting.
Yeah,
so,
Kieran was just in the middle there. You were kind of giving us a bit, Kieran, on your take. Yeah.
Well, just to say, look, with the end, you can add to the ending of Marley and Me, Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton, and Freshly Chopped Onions. You can add Jurgen Klopp to the list of things that make grown men cry like a baby.
I was only gone for like fucking 1 minute. What the hell are you talking?
No, but actually, no. But what I do want to actually ask, and Dan, but also the general room here, is that we focus on how charismatic he was, because he obviously was, but he also had a ruthless side, and he was able to dismiss and maybe freeze out players. Like a lot of the big managers kind of have to be a bit dictatorial when it calls for. But we've been very complimentary, been very positive. What are some of the aspects of Klopp's either personality or style that, you know, you won't miss, to put it bluntly?
Can I just put in there for 1 sec? I have just a question as well. You can bring it into that as well. He's saying he's burnt out after 8 years. And I saw this online, and it's as a joke online, but you can agree or disagree. Ferguson did it for 27 years. He never got burnt out. Has football changed that much that a manager can get burnt out much quicker?
Klopp's style is different. Go on anyway. I'll let you field the two Klopp related questions.
Who? Me?
Yeah, I'll let you swing it, because like it's basically the Fergie, because Fergie was aggressive, as we were saying there, you know. But I think Fergie had it was his life, like, you know what I mean. I think Klopp, like, it's just, you can tell, you know, you just see the energy in him. He's like a ball of energy running around the place.
I have quite a simple response to that though, and it'll be that burnout is individual. It's an individual thing, so it doesn't go by. You can, you know, I think that's, I would keep it very simple. So burnout can affect anyone depending on whether or not you're in a job 2 years, 4 years, 10 years. It can depend on the person and what the person has going on. Like, if you remember as well, like, suppose we had the COVID thing, Klopp lost his father, and I think in around that time frame.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to but you know, like, who's to say that Fergie wasn't burnt out? But maybe Fergie was, you know, came from a real kind of tough Scottish, like, he's a real, as you said, aggressive. There was a real kind of a coldness and maybe you might say, like, you know, as well, that there was maybe a very much a defense with Fergie. Who's to say that Fergie wasn't burnt out and that there wasn't a lot going on, but that it was more maybe he wasn't as open to express his feelings. And I know, like, it might sound ridiculous
not
to say,
at all.
But,
that actually makes a lot of sense.
But I would actually put it into certain. You know, you see Jurgen Klopp and that he's a person that he's emotional. He wears his heart in his sleeve. You've seen him when Liverpool won the title and he was brought in and he was bawling, crying. I don't remember ever really seeing Ferguson emotional. You, like, in that kind of sense?
No.
So
I think they're addicts, like Ferguson, Wenger. They were football addicts. Like, they actually couldn't pull themselves away from the game. You know, they actually, you know, they seen Wenger, like, he actually had to get kicked out, like, before he left. You know what I mean?
And like, look, time will tell with it, because at the end of the day, we get to the Euros in the summer, and Nagelsmann's contract is up after that tournament. Klopp was already approaching the German job before and turned it down, to lead them into the last World Cup. So time will tell on whether or not how long of a break he feels that he needs. He's talking about taking a year out. If that job comes a calling, will it? But I wouldn't buy into that. But I would also say huge respect for Ferguson, ways. You look at Hodgson, like, lads that just been able to keep it going. But then if you look at it, Klopp's thing in that as well. He's gone from Mainz, he went to Dortmund and gave it all, and then he's gone to Liverpool. It's not as if his tenure is longer than just Liverpool. You know what I mean? Like, without a break.
Of course.
So,
I suppose that was my next question. Where will we be managing next? Do you think the national team, Dan?
I think even if he's saying that he's burnt out and that maybe I would imagine that
Give it a
German,
year or whatever. Yeah.
but even if the German job was to come up in the interim, like there's less pressure attached to it in the sense that it's not day to day running of that. So I'd imagine that the German job would appeal to him the most, given what he said. But he said he won't manage England again. I'd imagine that
How
is
long?
the case.
How long did he take off after Dortmund? Because I think he had the same. How long? Was it a couple of years off? Because like I remember him saying the same thing when he was leaving Dortmund. He was just "Oh, I've given as much as I can to the team. I'm burnt out. Blah blah blah." I think it was pretty soon afterwards he went to Liverpool, if I remember correctly. It was a couple of maybe 6 or 7 months or whatever.
I think so. Yeah. It was,
so you'd be wondering like maybe he gets refreshed in 6 months and he's managing Barcelona.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't be triggered by the comparison with Ferguson because it is. I just think that when you're using the word burnt out, like that is very much an individual thing. It's my opinion.
Yeah, I think Klopp, like the way he manages, is you're going to get burnt out whether you're. I think if Ferguson was managing like Klopp is managing, and the enthusiasm he has to give off every day, he'd burn out. I'd say, okay, maybe as I said, every person's different, but it's just his high energy, is just his heavy metal stuff. You know, you can't be listening to heavy metal all day long.
and like that, I suppose you look at the younger managers and that. Will they manage for as long a period as the likes of Wenger or I can't imagine that a lot of the lads now will go to the time frame at a club, nor will they actually like Hodgson now. There won't be too many managers of the younger generation of managers that will be going to the likes of into their 70s. You know what I mean? Like it's not that just won't happen. There was it recently that said that they reckon they'd 4 or 5 more years and then they'd finish up altogether. I just can't remember who it was. I read it the other day. It was some high-profile man. No, it wasn't Hodgson. No, it was even though that wouldn't fucking surprise you, can't remember who it was. It might come to you in a minute anyway.
But Kieran and Howard, I suppose, where do you see Klopp going?
Oh, Lampard. Sorry, it was Lampard. Did you see that?
Frank the Tank.
Yeah, Lampard was on the Stick to Football, and he said that he could see himself maybe doing management for another 4 to 5 years, and then
he needs to be a manager first, though.
Continue to be.
He needs to get a job. Like
anyway,
neither here nor there. Howard and Kieran, what do you see next for Klopp? Is it the national team?
Yeah, I would have thought the national team. That was the first thing that I heard about and came into my mind was the national team. But I don't know, don't know. Maybe it'd be a nice way to break, take a break and manage the national team. You know what I mean? That might be his thing. But I'd love to see him in La Liga. That would be interesting to see his style of football in there amongst that kind of the Spanish style of football. Like
against Simeone, be some crack, wouldn't it? Simeone.
You can't look beyond Germany. He said he said he'll never manage in England again. So he's not going back there. So Germany. If he goes back, when he goes back,
he's not going back into the German league. He's not coming back to England. I think it's either Spain or the national job, I'd imagine. And I mean, in Spain, it's only going to be
PSG, maybe. I don't know. That's.
I can't
see him getting involved in PSG. But...
No, I think Klopp has too much class to go near.
PSG would want him, you know what I mean?
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah, you know why? No, he's not. He's just class. He's not money.
Yeah,
he won't be money. There won't be that kind of the circus game. He'd be very much looking at. I think a club with class.
Of course. Yeah. And the final question, I suppose, the biggest one on Liverpool fans' minds. Who's next in the hot seat? Who's going to replace Jurgen Klopp? Dan, we'll leave you to last on this because I'm kind of curious as what you think, but we'll start with the non-Liverpool fans. Kieran, who do you think will be in the Liverpool hot seat next?
Well, as much as I am a true believer in Big Ange, when I saw his name on who could be going for the hot seat, I had to laugh a little bit. I don't think it's going to be him. Anyways, I don't know. I mean, all signs point towards Xabi Alonso.
But who would have though? Take that aside. Take out the realism of who could be. Who would you think would be the one? Outside of that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if I were to make the case for Angie Ball, I think that might be something that could actually not be the very same, but build on or adapt a lot of the elements of Klopp ball, where it's go all the time, very high energy, very high pressing, and a lot of the aspects of Ange Postecoglou's style of play have a lot of the same principles, where it's just going all the time, very high defense, very forward minded, trying to play attacking, flowing football. So that could be something that would work from a tactical perspective. But other than that, it's a case of who might actually take it, because I think Deck or Dan, you mentioned is the idea of this poison chalice, and of course we all know what happened after Moyes took over from Ferguson at Man United. So whilst
different circumstance though, different
yeah, I don't know if
circumstance.
I fully believe that argument either. Of we wouldn't take the job because the fear of not doing it. I mean, there's going to be a long list of people who are putting their name in for Liverpool manager.
Yeah. Howard?
Yeah, I can see Kieran's point with Ange Ball. I'm not picking Ange now, but I can see, you know, that style of football, the attacking style. You can see that kind of resembles slightly Klopp, but a tiny bit. But you know, you have the likes of maybe De Zerbi in there. You might get a shot at it. But like, to be honest, it's not a great time to be looking for a manager. There's not a whole, like, the best managers are in the Premier League at the moment. Like, you have Carlo Ancelotti managing Real Madrid. Okay, he's been a brilliant manager, but like, you know, he was managing Everton in the Premier League last time. I'm not saying, you know, but like, I wouldn't want Carlo Ancelotti, let's say, put it that way. And then the other one is Xavi, who just stepped down or going down in the summer. Like, so you're left kind of scratching your head and you're like, right, we have to kind of look within the Premier League, really, or someone who's going to come out of the blue, and you got to pick someone up. Like, Nagelsmann was supposed to be the next big thing, and he kind of flopped at Bayern. Would you go and get Tuchel? He's probably a stopgap, you know what I mean? Do you want like that kind of style of manager? So for me, like, the Xabi Alonso one makes the most sense. I can't really, you know, when you break it down like that, I can't really think of anyone else that I would like to get. He's young. He has some new ideas. They're going to be a new team. He needs to get them playing the way he played. He used to play for Liverpool. Like, it's a. I can't see them going for anyone else, to be honest, because there's not really a whole pile to pick from. You know, that would be my general, unless there's some random guy out there that we don't know about yet who they're going to get in. But yeah, or sorry, one other person as well who would have maybe been a shout was the assistant manager, your man Pep Linder. Is that his name? Pep Linder. Yeah, he wants to get into management. He's been around Klopp all the time. I know Arteta was keen to get him in as assistant manager. I think he's lots of good ideas. So he would have been maybe someone that, now he's not going for, because I think all the staff are leaving, but that would have been someone maybe you could have looked at. You know, it could have been like the Arteta after Pep left when he was there at Man City that time. So that was the only other one maybe I thought could have got a shout, but I don't think they're going to go that route at all. So
Okay, I'm just going to throw what do you call it, Wayne Rooney's name into the.
Jesus.
No, I'm only joking.
What about Troy Deeney? Get Troy Deeney in there.
Dan, go for it.
Right, yeah. So that's obviously the next step. It seems that since November they've been putting together a shortlist since the news was announced. So I had a little look yesterday just to kind of I looked at the odds firstly of what are they looking at as the go-to people. So Alonso is odds-on favorite for the job, and I'll get to him in a sec. Zerbi is there. Nagelsmann is there. Zidane actually is in the running. Gerrard was in the betting as well. And then you can go look a bit more kind of left of field as such. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned Zerbi as well as so yeah, so they're kind of the ones you can look at. We mentioned in the podcast several episodes ago who would be the next big one in the Premier League that would get a top job. So if you remember that we had that conversation, we all kind of mentioned that De Zerbi was the one that would get whatever the next big dog come up. He'd be probably near the top of the queue. You look at a few of the other ones that are there. So like you have Alonso, who's it's interesting because like you think of Mikel Arteta, like Mikel Arteta's first Premier League job, first management job was Arsenal.
Yeah.
So he went straight in. I know he had time under Pep and that as well, but he had no management experience.
And
really,
he had COVID to deal with. So there was a betting in time. You know what I mean?
There was betting time.
Place twice. Whatever,
yeah. So I suppose it's interesting because, and obviously he came into Arsenal at a time where there was transition, as you had mentioned, how we were messaging about, like, you know, and where they were at. It'll be interesting where Liverpool are at come the summer in regards how many trophies they may get this year. Like they're favourite for the League Cup, they're favourite for the Europa League, second favourite for the league, second favourite for the FA Cup. So you'd imagine that they hopefully will come back with some silverware and how much. But that's the other side of the job as well. Whoever's going to come in, are they going to come into a dressing room who's low after, going maybe empty-handed, or are they going to come into a really successful dressing room? So when I looked at it, I looked at Alonso. Of course, the link in, he played for Liverpool and he's having quite a success in spell Leverkusen. Took them over when they were near bottom of the league. Looked like the team were in serious trouble. Managed to get them out of that and got to like a Europa League semi-final or something under him, and then he's obviously going very well this year. And I still have a feeling that Munich will pip them. I think they drop points the weekend. I just have a feeling that this is what teams do, like Leverkusen, Dortmund. Like, they'll all kind of go on a bit of a run. Eventually, Munich will catch them. But there's no doubt he's put in his stance. He was at Sociedad. He's had a lot more management experience than, say, like some Arteta had, or other managers who kind of gone straight into a club. But the expectations that Leverkusen are completely different. They're very low. The style of football is actually very different as well to the way that Liverpool play.
What's his style?
He's more short pass. Like it's not heavy metal. It's like the opposite.
It's probably similar to their Arteta. The two of them are from Sociedad. I'd say they're both the same style.
Yeah, and De Zerbi as well a bit. I think because De Zerbi is like it's not as
They're all
then they do press and they do turn over the ball and stuff like that. But they play 3-4-3 like I think as well.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different system. Like saying that like you don't know until they go to another club whether or not what way that will go with the players that you have at your disposal. You can only work with what you have, I guess, as well. And he's in there, and he obviously though has his own principles. So for me, it was interesting just when Kieran straight away off the bat, it was like but no, right? Because so interesting. I had a look at it and I went through all the different people that are there that are available. So I'm going to give you the one that I think I would go for. It mightn't be the most realistic, but it actually is and it's based on a couple of things. So one being he's actually a Liverpool fan. That's the first one. Straight off the bat, that he's actually a boyhood Liverpool fan and has said that several times. So his charisma, which you did mention, Kieran, was a surprise by you talking his football. But his actual personality is very, very similar to Klopp in the way the media and the way he's kind of come in and presented himself. So he ticks that box too. So immediately, if he was to go to Liverpool, immediately the fans would take them as well, I think, on that front. The style of football he plays, again, with the squad that Liverpool have and the squad that Spurs have, again, there's a lot of similarities in the way that they play, and there is a heavy metal and a fucking insane style to. I think Klopp has kind of dimmed down over time. It's kind of fun, and at times it goes back to that, but it's more settled than it was. Postecoglou is still a bit mental, but there is very similarities in the way that they play. And I suppose again, look, I suppose I could be hypocritical here by saying my thoughts on Celtic. I won't go into that because I've mentioned it here before. I have certain thoughts on it. But at the end of the day, Celtic are a very, very big club with a very, very big fan base. And he did go in there, and as you've mentioned, Kieran, here several times, to a point he transcended Celtic style of play and the way they went about things. So when we're looking at it, he mightn't be the most realistic one because you've got what do you call him there that run at Spurs that's run the show.
Daniel
Levy, that won't be under any circumstances wanting him to go. But for me, he ticks actually all of the boxes. If you look at all of the different things that he has, and one I'm forgetting to say is as well is what he's actually done at Spurs with the young players that are there. You look at the amount of young players that have come through at Liverpool. I think as well that side of it, he's a manager that puts the arm around players and talk. I just think he takes anywhere from me all of the boxes outside of the fact that he's a year at Spurs. But I'm going to just make the point here and be interested in a few years' time if he doesn't. But I actually don't see Spurs winning a trophy under Postecoglou. I think he'll go in, he'll do well. But Spurs for me are Spurs, and the culture at Spurs is they don't win things. So from that point of view as well, I'd be going for Postecoglou. Okay, right. So that's that side of it, and that's my feelings on who Liverpool should go for the next manager. The realistic thing is going to be where it's going to boil down to is FSG and where they want to go. There's a lot of change at the club. Like their sporting director is gone, and they're losing a load of staff. And I think that's part of the problem as well. Is it's not just Klopp that's going. There's a lot of pieces of the jigsaw that have been there for a long time in Liverpool that are all going in the coaching department, and I think that's also playing into the thoughts around players and what way things going to look, what way is the style going to look with a brand new setup. So realistically, Alonso, De Zerbi, and look, Gerrard is dirtied his bib with where he is gone, and I think that if he maybe wasn't in Saudi and was looking for a job,
Dan, Never.
No, but I'm just talking about
they're never gonna. Once he flopped at Villa, like that was it.
Yeah. So that kind of he kind of has dirt in a few places. So I think that probably rules him out. He'd have to come back and kind of rebuild his career, I think, in Europe or England to be in the run.
I don't think he has a managing career. I don't think he's a good manager in general. I don't think he has the brains for it. But anyway, that's just
Anyway, yeah. So you're looking at Nagelsmann who might be out of the job after the and I know you were talking about that he flopped. I don't know whether or not he flopped in Munich. He were going well and then they fucked him out the door and brought Tuchel in. I don't think they were doing well, I think, at that stage.
He was doing all right. Did he flirt with the Germany job or something?
Pissed them off, I think, as well. Like
that's what happened or something. He was
So like you're looking at sorry, go on.
No, just like he was he pissed off Munich while he was there, and he went on holiday when they told him not to and stuff like that. There were little things that were kind of in the background as well about that.
So anyway, it's looking like Alonso's odds-on favourite. Nagelsmann, he's obviously he's German as well, isn't he?
Yeah. So slim pickings though, Dan.
I deserve. You're right. As in, when you look at it, it's going to be. You're going to be taking a manager realistically that is inexperienced and has never, outside of maybe Postecoglou, really, who's kind of well travelled.
And there's one obvious one we're all missing.
Which one?
Go on.
Jose.
Oh yeah, that won't happen. No, it's like
we're talking about experience.
You think Rafa? Where's Rafa? Rafa's over in Spain somewhere as well. You bring Rafa. But anyway, the only other one that's not on the list I've seen that's not knocking around at all. But if you were actually to go and look and knock into all the data and what he's done, and I'm not saying that I that's where they'll go. They won't, because he's not even in the talk or conversation. Actually, Emery's CV Emery's CV in regards he's well travelled. If you look at the last 2 years and the win ratio and all that's going on, and looking at the stat, like he is up there. So it'll be interesting to see what way they'll go. For me, if it was Alonso or De Zerbi, I'd be going for De Zerbi for the fact that he's playing in the league. And I think he's a slightly more experienced. He's a bit more travelled. And I think his style of football is more similar to the players that are at Liverpool. And again, if you look at what he's doing with Brighton, he's giving an awful lot of young players a chance at Brighton, and seems to be they're progressing under him. So he would probably be the one that I think is probably the most realistic for me. But I would be going for Ange, and it'd be very, very interesting if they just decided to dip the toe in the water just to see what sort of interest would be on his end.
Yeah, just on a few points you made there, Dan. Like I don't know Ange, like I'm not sure if he's going to be. You might be gone from Spurs next season because they flop. You know what I mean? You wouldn't know. I think it's too early in his Spurs career to tell us that the way he's playing and that style of football is going to be sustainable and is going to win a lot of games, put it that way. Like they have they're one of the highest for expected goals conceded. Like they're really open at the back, but the teams just haven't been scoring. Their keeper's been on form, but
they're 3 points behind Arsenal in the league.
No, exactly. Look, they could keep trucking. They could do unreal. And I'm not saying that. I'm just personally, if I was a Liverpool fan, I wouldn't be looking that way. I think that his game is exciting and it's robust, but I think it has too many flaws in it that if you're going to try to be a top team, I don't know if he has his style of football will bring you that. I don't know if it's smart enough to have that. I think it's great to look, and I think he's a cool guy and all that kind of stuff. And you're right, he ticks a lot of the boxes when it comes to being a Liverpool fan and all that. I get that, but I just don't think. I think it might be a step too far for him. Liverpool. That look, I could be completely wrong, but that would be my opinion. Xabi Alonso, I think he comes from probably a very good pedigree. He's played under Pep. He's managed himself. He's that, you know what I mean? He's that defense midfielder who reads the game when he played. There's a lot of good managers come out of that position. And he's
won everything as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has
a player.
He has a good slide. He's played it. I think he's played under Klopp, has he?
I don't think so, has he?
Well, Liverpool, did he ever play under Klopp? No.
No.
There's someone else. So another big manager he played for. I can't remember who.
He was at Madrid.
So. Oh, yeah, maybe it was Ancelotti, was it, or something like that, or Mourinho, maybe, or someone. But anyway, look, all I'm saying is that he has a lot of history, even though he hasn't managed anyone. Like he has a lot of history there of a good pedigree, pretty much. I think Leverkusen were like fighting for relegation last year.
18, no, they were.
So to turn them over to becoming first, there's something going on. And I think personally, you're lucky that he's actually gone and done this already, because I think he is actually exactly what Liverpool need, and if he wasn't there, I think you would be struggling to get a long-term manager that would fill Klopp's boots. I think that'd be my opinion. Anyway.
No, that's all fair enough. Cheers for all of your
Can
input
I
on
make
that, man.
just one other
Yeah,
point on
go
the
ahead.
Van Dijk thing from earlier? Like, I could be completely wrong. I kind of think that the Klopp news has played into the hands of Van Dijk, Salah, and Trent, because them three have all got 18 months left of contract.
Yeah.
So I just think that it gives them an awful lot more chess pieces. Like, you can say Van Dijk has come out and said what he said, and potentially, yeah, maybe he is looking at the idea of moving on. Like, again, Liverpool have a very successful season, win a couple of trophies, maybe win another league title. Some of the players that have been there quite a while might say, okay, I've won a lot here, time to move on. But also, he's putting that out there again.
That's a good point, yeah.
It is, and like you can't blame him, because all top players would do it. They're gonna all the chess pieces on the table.
Well, how much more money is Van Dijk going to get? He's not going to get much more when he's 33 and he's already.
But I'm not just talking about the money though, but by his words,
contract or whatever.
No, he's Liverpool captain, so it's even around. He wants to know the direction, and again, it's the whole package. It's like, I'm the captain of Liverpool. I'm saying, right, I'm not sure. And I think it could, and I said, Howard, I'm not saying that it's not.
Yeah, I know.
I think I want to play abroad, but also it's the kind of, right, okay, well, I want to know here, so I'm putting it out here now that Jurgen's leaving. I'm here a while. He's having arguably his best season for quite some time. He's been exceptional this season, so he has an awful lot of poker chips to sit down and kind of be like, okay, I want to know what's going on. What way are we looking in regards manager? And on that as well, that is something that will cause problems, I think, for Liverpool in regards to the manager that comes in.
Yeah.
If you're a player playing in Europe, for me, and this is the last point I'll make on it, because I've rambled on enough about Liverpool, but if Xabi Alonso is sitting down with you at the negotiation table to get a player to Anfield, or Ange is sitting down with you, who are you going to go for? Xabi Alonso, for me, he's the same as Arteta and Xavi. He's got the pedigree, but he's also got fuck all charisma. So if you're sitting down at a table with any of them versus the likes of,
do you reckon he has no charisma?
I think he's. I just think he's straight laced. I think look, maybe it's a bit unfair
because Arteta has that, like you seen on the documentary, they made. He has the team talks and all that and all the fancy thing, and he knows how to talk to people. I thought I'm assuming Alonso.
Maybe charisma's the wrong word. Yeah, maybe charisma's the wrong word. You might give me a better word there, Kieran. The term just here. But it's kind of what I'm trying to say is it's that you sit down in a room.
Yeah,
and I'm pitching.
It's a sex appeal.
Sex appeal. Yeah. That's sex appeal. Yeah, let's call it that.
Like, let's be honest, right? Fucking yeah. I mean, you have Ange on one side, you have Xabi on the other. Who has greater sex appeal?
You'd go. Look, it's as simple as this. You'd go to war for Ange Postecoglou, but you'd only go into business with Xabi Alonso.
There you go. Thanks, Kieran.
We'll leave it there. But yeah, no, the Liverpool story will rumble on for the rest of the season, and it'll be very interesting to see if they have a Klopp successor appointed before the end of the season. Yeah. Will they announce it? We'll see.
Can I ask one more thing?
Oh fuck! Okay, go ahead.
What do you think of the timing?
Timing.
We never got to mention the timing.
Timing is good. Yeah.
It's a galvanizing tool, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a galvanizing tool, isn't it? A motivation.
Oh, 100% galvanizing tool. I thought maybe it was a weird one to do just before Norwich, but anyway, the Arsenal game and Chelsea game's coming up, the Arsenal game's coming up. Now the only thing is, if they were to draw points against Chelsea and lose against Arsenal, people will be saying, why did he, it's rattle the players, and then it'll have the opposite effect. So look, let's see. I would say it was going to galvanize them, but let's see.
I'm gonna laugh when Liverpool end up on 87 points and City end up on 88 points. So
then you get relegated, and then it won't be worth anything.
Yeah, well, look, that's not going to happen for at least another 12 months. So
like, if you're an Arsenal fan, you're sitting there, look at Howard there like a fucking Cheshire cat there going, Klopp's leaving, City are going to be relegated. He's fucking licking his lips.
That's it.
Come here, we'll move on to I know there's midweek matches, but we're doing next weekend's predictions. So the three matches we have, we'll go through them very quickly. So Everton, Spurs, Man United and West Ham, and the big one, being Arsenal and Liverpool. So Dan, Everton and Spurs, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Everton are a bit of a hole, like losing at home the FA
Yeah.
Cup there against Luton as well. They're not in great form. So I'll go for struggling to score goals, aren't they? I'll go for 2-0 Spurs.
Okay. Howard, Everton and Spurs.
I'm gonna say 1-0 Spurs.
All right. Okay.
Actually, 1-1. I'll go 1-1. Sorry, I'll go 1-1. Fuck it.
All right.
Everton being
Okay.
decent enough this year.
Kieran.
I'm gonna say 2-0 to Spurs. Richarlison with a brace. He's on
Oh,
fire.
gets
Oh
his.
God. Okay. All right. Man United versus West Ham. Dan.
Jesus. God, neither of them are kind of trustworthy at the moment, aren't they? So it's.
No.
I go. Do you know what? I think the Hammers could go there and win. Judas is back, isn't he? They're out, aren't they? They got knocked
They
out.
got knocked out. I'm assuming he's probably back by now.
Yeah, I go 2-1 West Ham.
Oh, very good. Howard, United and West Ham.
I'll go 3-2 United.
And part of that is the Rashford thing. Are you following that?
Oh yeah.
That's more
The
unwanted
clubbing
noise.
in Belfast. Who goes clubbing in Belfast anyway? What the fuck is that all about?
That's the most criminal part of the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
It's just mad. Like he
I know.
arrived back in Manchester by playing at 8 a.m. the next morning and
Is that what
reported sick for training. I mean, wasted talent. Honest to God, he's really messing it up for himself. We obviously don't. We don't know like the majority of it, but
no,
it just doesn't. He's a talented player, but it's not happening.
But the impact that must have on the,
of course,
on all, you know what I mean, like on the club. Anyway,
absolutely. Kieran, Man United and West Ham.
I'm gonna give 1-0 to Moisey.
Okay, very good. And finally, the big one at the weekend: Arsenal versus Liverpool. Kieran, I'll start with you on this one as the neutral.
I think Arsenal are kind of coming back into a bit of form, but Liverpool are just on a different level at the moment. So I would go with, I don't know, 2-1.
It's in the Emirates now, Kieran.
Yeah, I know. Okay, fair enough. 3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 to Liverpool at the Emirates.
Jeez, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. But we'll see. Dan.
I go for 1-1.
1-1. I think it's going to be a draw as well. I think a draw obviously is going to benefit City as well. Howard.
I'll go 3-1 Arsenal.
Good lad. Jesus, that's a fucking brave one. 3-1
well,
to
like
Arsenal.
Salah and I think if they play like they played in the FA Cup game, they could win 3-1 easily.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Just needs to take the chances.
Actually score take their chances.
But that game will definitely have so it's not going to decide
a
the
ripple
title
effect.
It will have a ripple. That's the best words for it. Ripple effect. City of Burnley tomorrow or Wednesday night. Liverpool of Chelsea. So I mean, and you said Liverpool or City have a nice run. So I mean, a draw will be a brilliant result.
City have a nice run of games. Yeah, so got City do it. Yeah.
And again, if you send in your predictions to us on Instagram, Football Fanatic Podcast, if you are to get 3 correct scores, you will be the winner of 2 match tickets to a Premier League team of your choice. Last weekend, for 1 week only, we had picked 2 results. And Howard, for about 26 minutes, he was going to London, to the Emirates. But then
have a jersey on. I was there with a flag, like it's like the Eurovision.
You might have peaked too early. You were there looking at going, for fuck's sake.
I was in the kitchen watching. I was thinking, fuck, how, like, you know, because Howard is close here, like in 2-0, like away to Newport. It's not like completely unlikely. And then they got one and get another one very quickly, and then hopefully a third and a fourth.
I was like, you know, in Father's Head when they're all going off to America and like Mrs. Doyle and Dougal are there going with their flags ready to their bags packed. That was what I was like, you know, and I was like, fucking hell. 4-2 then, or 5-2, was it? Or what was the score?
Yeah, it was 4-2 in the end, 4-2. But like, United were up like 2-0 by the 20th minute. I was like, okay, they're surely going to get another third one. But until that next goal goes in, I was a little bit worried. But then I didn't have to fucking worry because the Newport lad went and just
hammered a goal.
Brilliant goal. Okay, so again, send your predictions in to us by 10 p.m. this Friday. Now we'll move on to Monksland. So again at the weekend, Monksland 3, Abbey Leagues 2. They were 2-0 down until the 81st minute, and then they scored 3 in the last few minutes, which is a brilliant way to win a game. So they won 3-2, the A team. The B team were in cup action. They lost 2-0 to St. Cartridge's, but at least they got a game, so it's not all bad. Fixtures at the weekend, the A team are idle and going on the beer. B team versus Stradbally on Sunday at 2 p.m. The last man standing for Monksland United is also starting back up on Saturday, the 17th of February. So you have about 2.5 weeks to get your predictions in. All information can be got on Instagram or Facebook at Monksland United. And that kind of finishes up things for this week, men. Any other business to add before we hit the road?
Nothing from my side, no.
All right.
What are you doing for the FFP St. Valentine's Day bash deck?
Say that again, Karen.
What are you doing for the FFP St. Valentine's Day dinner?
Always about fucking celebrations with
You
you,
skipped
man.
over on the Christmas too. We didn't have a bash, so
we didn't have a New Year one either. Fuck's sake, we're getting left out.
FFP Valentine's. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not even going to answer that. Dan, do you have something to add before we finish?
No, I was in my head. Just what you think? Do you think Hodgson will get to the summer, or will he be gone? Will he get the chop before? Do you think?
I'd say he'd be gone if they get someone in.
Do you mean like survive the job or?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, not perish. Yeah, no, survive the job.
Perish.
Dust.
He'll be on John Delaney and have him on the same or their first flight out of London there now straight to Dublin for the Ireland job. Imagine that.
It's messy.
You could be checking RIP for Roy Hodgson.
Lads, stop. Is Carsley definitely not?
No,
yeah, he pulled the plug.
Well, I don't know. He might. I don't know what's going on because he was all gung ho for it, but then all of a sudden just fell apart. I don't know. Whatever happened in that interview.
He had an epiphany and just said, "What the fuck am I doing?"
He basically said that if Southgate goes, if it doesn't go well for him in the Euros, that like he thinks that he thinks that he's in the running for it. Yeah, which I was surprised by, but I suppose the natural progression for the under 21s is to maybe try and have a crack at the top job. But yeah, I was surprised that I thought it was a good appointment actually when I looked at him.
Yeah, he would be my pick. Yeah.
Would you give Neil Lennon a crack at the Irish job? No.
Anyone who's on Premier Sports doing punditry, I wouldn't give them a crack of it.
Oh Jesus Christ, it's shocking. Premier Sports is the pit.
Who else?
Like
Roy
Joey
Keane?
Roy Keane, I know. Unless he had someone else in there with him, but
yeah, I seen on the 6 Football he talked for the first time really about wanting the job.
He did mention, did he?
Yeah, he said they asked him about it. He said he'd like it, but I thought it'd be a smart appointment from the point of view of getting fans back into the stadium, because even regardless of just the fact of Keane's presence, like Keane is more popular now than he was when he was a player. But I mean, like in regards to what he bring, even with the fandom and the media, it'll bring a bit of a buzz to it. But I don't know. Yeah, it remains to be seen. Like it's slim pickings again, Howard.
Yeah, slim pickings.
What's your man's name that got sacked from Ghana?
Yeah, Chris Hughton.
Chris Hughton. Yeah.
Former player.
To be honest, I wouldn't be picking him either. Although we don't have much to pick from, I just don't see him as a progressive manager like the ones that we kind of need. Let's get Steve Kenny another crack at the whip. Fuck it, let's get Steve Kenny. Get him back.
He was practically ran out of the Ghana camp by journalists there.
By the Ghanaians.
Yeah. That tournament is mental. See, and Egypt are gone, lads.
Yeah, Egypt are gone, yeah.
Beautiful.
It's been a mad tournament. Jesus Christ, some of the fucking last minute goals and decisions, and oh god, there was like the touch from the goalkeeper, the Ghanaian goalkeeper, basically knocked him out of the tournament. He like basically touched the ball like it was going out of play, and he touched the ball.
That's right, I've seen that.
Over from the corner.
The Asian Cup, there. I only read it now, so I haven't seen the incident. But you see that? I think there was a player celebrated a goal, and he over celebrated, and the ref sent him off. For over celebrations. Yeah. Anyway,
the game is changing. All right, man. Thank you very much as always, Kieran. Thanks for coming on, and we will be talking to you all next week. Dan, don't take it too hard. Liverpool will continue, Klopp or not.
Get another box of Kleenex. You'll be all right.
I actually felt like this was good therapy, lads. I actually feel a small bit better, and I'm just hoping that somebody gets this podcast off to Ange. And he can see my passion for the man and Kieran's passion. and they go with Colin. It'd be wonderful, wouldn't it? Though Spurs' best manager in God knows how long,
Yeah,
and he's gone within a year.
Way back when in August when you all were unfamiliar with Ange.
Yeah. Fairness, Kieran. Fairness, yeah.
We will see. All right. Brilliant. Thank you all very much. We will chat to you all next week. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Bye.
Cheers, guys. Good luck.